Oh, the pension?
right?
You okay? Oh, I'm really sorry. Oh, how's it going? That that is really hard. I'm so sorry because that's yeah. Oh, sudden. It wasn't sudden, but yeah, he's too. I think anybody younger than us is too soon. Good. Yeah. How's it going, Aisha? Good. You're so far away. But I have a teenager, right? So it's always a struggle. She's 17.
July 18th, 2023. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It doesn't appear that, oh, now the microphone's. So, Madam City Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, and Housing Authority.
It is now time for public comment. Any persons wishing to address the City Council for any agenda item right now on the agenda may do so. 3 minutes.
I'm sorry. Calendar 5, you have a staff report recommending that the mayor and council members approve an agreement with, let's see, hold on, no, that was fine. Leverage information system for goods and services related to the police department camera system. How did that come out the water fund? That I would like to, I'm curious about. And then you have a payment to AAA Consulting. Now, this is a curious one to me. For it's $250,000. $250,000, I think, is outside of the contract period or the contract because there's multiple amendments you guys signed with her. What's curious about it, she's had this relationship with the city since 2019. If I'm correct, she was the one that promoted Measure I. Now, in the scope of her responsibilities, because it's a huge, I mean, basically, she runs everything now. From what the contract says. But from the scope of her work, she's made that money since July the 1st through the 17th. And if you look at the wording, it's an open-ended, but there's no justification of the payments. There's no invoice submitted, nothing. And I understand that. But in her role, in her capacity, she was the one that helped all these funding initiatives of trying to get this people mover moved in the maintenance, but yet she's not disclosing her role. And in fact, I think it's a conflict of interest to be pushing a tax measure because if I'm correct, you and Eloy Morales wrote that Measure I. You can't serve in the capacity of working for the city in one sense and getting this thing funded, but at the same time secretly pushing a people mover, a tax measure, and not informing the people that you're doing it. In fact, I'm very concerned that this proposed measure, because she's responsible for that, is an illegal tax. Speaking of illegal taxes, we have another pension bond coming up. This is the second council action within a matter of weeks to shore up pensions. And we know what happened back in 2007, and I hope that doesn't happen here. The city issues a pension bond, puts it in the general fund, and then you know what happened? A bunch of executives got bonuses. This city takes care of its employees, the police department, and developers, not to mention all the other taxes in the improvement districts, Morningside. When is that money gonna trickle back to the residents? I hope that when you do pass this bond, because something tells me you guys are penchant for taxing people, that the money is going to serve the pension debt and not to fatten the pockets with these bonuses.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Are there any other speakers? With that, we'll close public comment. We'll go to item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move along, Penn. Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, Successor Agency members, and Housing Authority members, Gray.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. Before we go through consent calendar items 2 through 7, are there any questions by the council on the consent calendar? Hearing no inquiries, is there a motion to move the consent calendar?
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
DR1.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
aye, DR1.
Yes, sir. Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members adopt a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of taxable pensions obligation bond anticipation notes.
Move 1 and 2, but Mayor, if I could just.
Sure.
They should do a staff report. just to
Sharon,
clarify.
if you'd give us a brief explanation of what this item is.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a request to adopt a resolution to authorize the issuance and sale of taxable pension obligation bond notes. As you know, we are always mindful in looking at ways that we can save general fund cash flow. And in doing this band, it's a bond anticipation note, it enables us to generate approximately $11 million of general fund cash flow savings. And so what we are doing is we're anticipating issuing the note, and subsequently we will come back to you for a long-term bond. And what it does is it helps our general fund cash flow, and it'll help us in the current year and the next 2 years as well.
Yes.
And Sharon, if you could just explain a little bit about how that savings is generated, like where the 11 million comes from, so that it explains kind of the transaction.
Well, because normally we would end up paying some of these pension costs with our general fund monies. And by us doing this transaction, it allows us to put out in the next couple of years or further down the road those costs. And in doing the entire analysis, what it does is at the end, it produces us about $11 million of cash flow savings, and that's directly affecting the general fund. And what it does is it gives us the ability to do other capital improvement projects. It gives us that cash flow.
Oh, it's general fund, so it's.
Yes.
Councilman Padilla.
And this has been done before.
We've done this before, yes.
Yes, because I recall that before when we did it, we actually got phone calls from other people in other cities.
That's how we did it.
Exactly, and they were wanting to follow our lead because they're like, dang, you guys, it's a
Smart.
good opportunity for our residents. So when you talk about what we do for our employees, but it's also what we do for our community, for our residents, it's these smart things like this that benefit everybody as the city of Inglewood. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead, Councilman Gray.
thank you. Thank you for that report, because I did have a question about use of the general fund for this particular item. And I think you already kind of answered my second question was, is this most common in other cities? That other cities do this, or were we the first to do this?
We're not the first to do it, but because the city for the last 12 years has focused and concentrated on improving our financial stability, it's given us the opportunities that other cities may not have. And so what we do is on an ongoing basis, we're always looking at what can the city do with minimizing or having no risk. And we're always mindful of protecting our general fund.
Sharon, we absolutely were the first in the South Bay, but we certainly weren't the last. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah, well, that was my question. Do you know how many other cities have taken up our model?
They've inquired a lot. They haven't had the ability.
But we don't know of any cities
I
have.
think there's other cities, but they're probably a little different. When we talk with our underwriting team, and we have one on board that's done a lot of pension transactions, right now, there aren't any that are identical to what we do, but they do have some. They're variations depending on unique to the city.
Sharon, the correct answer is, yes, there are other cities that have done it. However, every city can't do it because every city is not as credit worthy as we are. Our bonds go out at AA plus.
That's
When I came into office, we were at BBB minus,
Yes.
which was one step above junk. We could not do that if we had that same bond rating. Is that correct?
Correct. You had your bond ratings suspended at the
right.
time.
All right.
Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Thank
Right.
you.
And so there was a
There's a motion.
motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR2.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members approve a 2-year agreement with Trifoletti Consultant, Inc. to continue providing program management services for the ITC project.
Okay, so before we have the motions, Councilwoman Gray, I know you had a question, so we're going to have, is Ms. Tripoletti here?
Yes.
Okay, she's going to come up and give a brief explanation of why we're doing this now as opposed to earlier, and she's going to kind of give you an overview of what the process is right now, and come on up and where the funds go. The vast majority of these funds go to technical sub-consultants. Is that right? You know, Mr. McCoy seems to think you get all the money, and although you are worth every dime, that isn't what happens. Sit down, Marvin.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, council members. Good afternoon, Mayor. The scope of the contract is for project management of the Inglewood Transit Connector for the most part. There are some non-ITC items, and I'll walk through those. But the project management for the ITC also included the technical analysis for the CEQA, the environmental clearance work, both under the California Environmental Quality Act and also for NEPA. All the interface with FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, all the documentation that we have to submit to go through the whole process to receive a grant. All the grant writing, so the amount of money that we have secured to date, $865 million. We've had to apply for multiple state funds, including federal funds, working with all the agencies, as well as the program control. So all the consultants, not just under our contract, that are the specialty experts for the RFP development, the coordination with FTA, all the agencies, but also all the other contracts that exist. So we have AECOM, Gannett Fleming, Answer, and the other contract of HNTB. And so there's multiple consultants that are working to advance this project, and that's the scope, and all of that has been reimbursable by both the state TRICP grant and by the Metro Measure R grant. And those items, sir, on the non-ITC have been relative to issue areas that are interrelated to the ITC. For example, the downtown Inglewood streetscape and downtown revitalization work. We received an $8.5 million grant there. Working on the CEQA thresholds for vehicle miles traveled. The state law changed the rules, and we needed to make sure that the VMT was actually implemented in a way that's complementary to your overall mobility plan. The other item was also for the getting a whole bunch of grants, since we've now become great grant writers, for your intelligent transportation system and for bike planning. And so that's generally what the other items are for.
You know, and this is like, I want to see if Councilwoman Gray's question.
Yeah, I do have some more questions, and thank you for the explanation, but I know that, for me, I've always said that no funds would come from the general fund as it relates to ITC. And so in the report, I don't think it was really clear. You've said some things now that kind of delineate what you do separate from ITC, but that, I think that's very important. And then the other question would be, this is kind of a reimbursement, I believe, is what's on the agenda.
Sure.
And what is the need for the reimbursement at this point?
So all related, all intelligent, all ITC related activities are all fully reimbursable. They take about
But not from the general fund?
not from the general fund.
Got it.
They're
Okay.
reimbursable by this.
Lisa, the director answer is, the general fund has to front monies before we were reimbursed by the grants.
Yes.
So the city is always made whole.
Yes.
And I think that's where the confusion was.
And within 30 days, Mayor, we have gotten everything fully reimbursed, every dollar spent, not just from Trifoletti Consulting, but all the other contracts that we help manage.
That's the other question I was going to have.
Yes.
So we have been made whole for any reimbursements to the general fund?
Yes, we're just
Correct.
working on whatever the last invoices are, but we're within that cycle. And everything has been fully audited and everything has been paid.
Okay, because the third amendment, I believe all the other amendments did not if I read it correctly, did not, general funds were not used for those other amendments?
General fund is not used for any of the costs associated with the ITC. Because they're grants, they're given to us on a we spend and then they reimburse us. So the city is completely whole for every cost associated with the ITC.
Yes.
Okay, and that's very important for the public to know.
Yes.
Because that's what we have said. So those questions really reflect, I think, transparency of what we're doing.
But
Yes.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Falk, and then Councilman Padilla, and then Councilman Morales.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Great way of explaining it so that residents understand. Since we have you up here, I know that the ITC project is constantly evolving and changing. I'd love it if you can kind of give our residents an update as to where we're at right now,
Yes.
so that everybody can know what the current status of the ITC project is.
So right now, we have submitted, since the last time I've been here with you, a request for a rating. That is our request to get onto the presidential budget. FTA is going through our financial plan, our land use and economic justification, and the ridership. They have all the documentations. We're working back and forth. We're waiting on pins and needles, but you have positioned yourself, as we said, in the best possible light. And in fact, Mayor Butts recently had a very, very positive conversation with the FTA administrator, Nuria Fernandez, and they understand the need, the urgency of this project, and they are working expeditiously on that. So they're going through that. During this time period, we're also now spending the time engaging with our bidder teams. We have 3 bidder teams. We're understanding how our contracts and our proposals for the RFP can be ready and make sure that when we put the bids out, we have 3 bidder teams ready to go. So we're working on contractual, commercial terms and the technical specifications, really crystallizing that, so that is ready. And then also working with the Metro to make sure that the Joint Powers Authority, which is a single-purpose entity that's going to be the entity that designs, operates, and maintains, is set up with all the proper jurisdiction to have all the permitting authorities during construction. And the last piece we're doing is working, again, in the field, doing appraisals, continuing to work with small businesses for business relocation, and just doing general public outreach so that people know if we, get this rating, what are the steps moving forward.
Councilman, thank you. Councilman Padilla.
thank you, Mayor. I just want to go back. So we've always been transparent. It's not anything new.
There you go.
And that's something that we hold dear to our heart, and as elected officials, as in just our regular day-to-day life, it's about doing the right thing right, being transparent. And that's something that folks have trusted us to do, and we continue to do that. So I also want to just remind folks that you and your whole group and staff have done several community presentations, business presentations, block club presentations. You've gone out to different pop-ups that we've done, community events. You've been there so that we can share what's going on with this project. It's been on our city website, social media. We've all been approached by residents and business owners, and we talk about what this is. So it's all in an effort to continue to be transparent, but not only with this, but with everything that we do. That's why we are a city that's on the move, and that so many other communities call us and say, hey, man, how do you guys make this happen, man? How'd you go from the brink of bankruptcy to where you're at in less than 10 years? So it's because we work together to move the city's business forward. And you've also done several presentations here in our council meetings to talk about this and talk about how we fund it and pass through monies and grant funding and all that. So, and we'll continue to do that, so we will continue to be available. We will always be transparent, and we will always work with integrity as the cornerstone based on everything that we do. So thank you for your presentation.
And as part of that transparency, we also gave you the look ahead. So what would be coming, looking ahead, is upon us receiving a medium rating, we're going to put out and get ready to put out the RFP to the bidders. And there's a whole host of work with all our other consultants and ourselves included, where we will be bringing forward a slew of contract amendments with the funds that we already have from the state. And we'll be bringing that forward in the next couple of months, so that you can be prepared for the work to continue to keep moving so we can meet the Olympics.
Councilman Morales.
So, I mean, it's interesting because, a project of this magnitude is obviously new to the city and new to all of us. So this is what it costs, right, to put it together, your entire team and everything else. We're still in a place where we're trying to figure out if we're going to get that medium rating and move on. But that doesn't mean you can't prepare to get that medium rating, because otherwise we're going to hold up. The Olympics is obviously a target. At that point, you'll assess whether that makes sense. Are we going to make the Olympics? Are we not? Before you really commit, our city's responsibility is such a big project. That being said, even at a project of this magnitude, you mentioned 3 bidders, right?
Yes.
And they've got a considerable amount of work already done on their part.
Yes.
Which doesn't come free and doesn't come easy.
No.
So a project of this magnitude, we literally are working with 3 bidders that you actually have to get them paid for all of this that they're doing. That's new to us, and they may be new to the public as well, but I think it's important that gets explained,
Yes.
right? That we're paying these bidders because that's how humongous this project
They're going to
is.
spend a couple $1 million, could be up to $10
Yeah.
million, and we've provided a stipend up to $3 million per
Exactly.
team, which again is all fully reimbursable by our grants.
Of course.
And to help them have the confidence and to keep the competition alive, to
Exactly.
carry this
we
forward.
We need to do this.
Yep.
We need to do this, but we can't expect that kind of commitment from a group that may not get anything. So this is part of what happens in a project of this magnitude, and that's kind of what I wanted to highlight, the fact that, we're working with these bidders who have their best people on it because they would love to have this project, and that costs money. But we need to invest in that because then we have 3 top groups trying to develop the best possible scenario for us.
Yes.
So that's why the grants exist, is my main point. Grants exist so that we can actually have this vision. If we were all having to dig in for visions and dig into our general fund, nobody would do anything like this.
Exactly.
So that's what grants are for. This is how we chose to do this one, you chose to use this grant. So I think that whenever we spend this level of money and are getting, can't see concrete results yet, or maybe never, it's really, questionable to everybody because they don't see what's happening and how we're working to do this. So I do think that the explanations are good. I do think, but I also, my effort here in spending my time was to try to clarify further
Yep.
how this money is being spent and why we've chosen to spend it that way. But we hope for the best. So that's it, Mayor.
Okay. Just to piggyback a little bit about where Councilman Morales was going, the reality is this, that every city is not going to receive the level of financial grants that we receive from the county and the state. Every city is not in a position to petition the federal government for $900 million. That's a statement of the confidence that people have in the city of Inglewood, not only its financial stability, but in its leadership and the decisions that we make. Now, that being said, because we were chosen to be the recipient of these grants, we've been able to do some things, and we intend to be successful as we have with everything. But say, for instance, we didn't get that median rating. We've already used grant funds to buy land at the corner of Manchester and Prairie. How much did we spend for that
That
site?
was a $13 million acquisition using our Measure R funds with FTA blessing and Metro blessing. And if in the off chance that you don't use it for the ITC, you can use it for transportation.
Well, we have a $13 million asset that we've gained already.
Yes,
Isn't that correct?
yes.
We've got a grant for Market Street in the area of $8 million that we get to use regardless.
Yes.
And so this is something that everybody needs to understand. We have received improvement money that we never would have been eligible for, never would have acquired had we not dreamed large, had a great vision.
And Mayor, today, we also got calls from Caltrans and our sister agencies asking if they can partner with us to go after more grants because of what you've accomplished.
Okay, so right now, just for this effort alone, we're $21 million ahead of where we were had we not even tried.
Maybe more, because we have $3 million from Congresswoman Maxine Waters
Okay.
and 2 earmarks of $5 million from our senators.
Okay, so that's $29 million.
And yeah.
$29 million we never would have had. All right, I want people to understand that. So this is a no-lose for the city. There's only a chance to be even greater than we are. All right, thank you very much. Is there a motion,
Move 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye, SPH 1.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members adopt a resolution to initiate proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for the Morningside Park Maintenance Assessment District 1974-2.
Now before we,
Want to call them all?
Yeah, do them all.
well, I want to do something else. The reality is that we have these 4 districts. One is a street light assessment. That's a citywide district. And the others are for individual areas of the city. And my suggestion is this. We have come to the point as a city where I believe that we don't need to make this levy for the individual districts, the in-town, the Darby-Dixon maintenance, and the Morningside Park. My recommendation, and I'm going to check with the city attorney, which I'm loath to do, but that at this meeting, can we vote to abolish the assessment on the residents for those 3 districts and just maintain the streetlight district, because that's a citywide district?
Mayor, I would say no. I think I'd recommend that you follow the agenda as it's listed here.
I believe if I could add something.
Okay, you can, but I'm going to say.
So I think we've discussed this before in terms of how we can handle this assessment, because the truth is the assessments aren't enough to pay for what we're actually paying. We're subsidizing it already out of the general fund, so it's not a big step that we do. But however, I believe these were voted in, and if they're voted in by the people, we can't take action up here on the dais for that. And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that these assessments were voted in by the people in an electorate, so we would not be able to overturn it up here. And that might be a legal question, whether we can or cannot do it, but I believe so.
I actually believe that by not moving to adopt the resolution for these 3, that the levy would not occur. I don't know that we're
Oh, it's
undoing.
possible.
I don't believe we're undoing the voters' authorization to levy the money, but I'm just suggesting that we not levy the money, and that we don't charge the residents.
Well, I
Mayor.
think you may be right, but I do think that it requires a further legal analysis, and the reason is because when voters take action, my understanding is that their action prevails, and we are merely taking action to actually make the transaction happen. So they will still, in fact, may even still be levied. Just because we don't take the action up here, they may still be levied because that is actually done already. I don't know. That's placed on the lien on their property when that is assessed. So I'm just saying that I'm not sure we can do that now.
Mayor?
And all,
If you'd like, we can table it.
That's
and
what I was
we can
gonna
look
say.
at
Can we
it.
just table that and get more,
well,
do a little
all
more
I'm
research?
saying is that
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend that we move forward with at least setting the public hearing. And during that process, we can determine whether or not we're going to hold the public hearing or
Okay.
determine we're going to adopt the resolution. But I would at least move forward, because if we decide to move forward with this, it has to go to the county in order to adopt it before, I believe, the mid-August or something before the new fiscal
Good
year.
idea.
okay. So Madam City Clerk,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a comment before
Go
you
right-
take an action.
go right ahead.
Thank you. I know this is to set a public hearing, and we talked a lot about transparency and giving information to the public, and I've read the staff report. Could you explain to the public exactly what this means?
Sure. So I'm Louis Atwell, the Assistant City Manager, for those that are watching. So this is to set a public hearing in order to levy, as the mayor explained earlier, to levy the parcels within the special benefit area, which is the district, for increased service levels. And that can be additional street sweeping, it could be additional landscaping, clean of the area, lighting
Right.
in that area. So, but if we don't move forward, we cannot assess these parcels.
Yeah, the reason why I ask you that is because I really want the public to know what the public hearings are all about, so that if they do decide to come, they have some idea of what the items are that they will be discussing there. There was mention of there's not enough money to cover the actual funding for this, and some of it is funded through the general fund rather than just through taxpayers' money. So that's very important for the public to understand. And so that's the reason why I think it's always important to discuss certain items.
Mayor, if I could further clarify something.
Go right ahead.
So I was the one who mentioned that, and I do want to make clear that these assessments have for years not been enough to cover the actual cost of what's happening. So that was something that the city was absorbing. So, the next step would be to absorb the whole thing, as the mayor suggests. That being said, I just want to clarify on the legal front, just so that we speak and are on the record correctly here. The city attorney's office, the request is to check how it was passed and what the function would be for us to either, as the mayor said, just leave it alone and let it move forward. Does that satisfy what we want to do? Because my whole question with that would be, if the properties are being assessed already, the funds would go directly to the county and sit in the assessor's office in a trust fund, waiting for us to take action here, which is many times how that happens. But if in fact, if we don't do anything and it absolves us and the residents from that cost, then that would be the way to do it. That would be one option.
Okay. So since I started this off.
Yeah, since I guess we'll dig in.
I'll finish it. So listen to what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I have long thought it not fair that individual districts in the city have this attached to their property tax bills. Okay? And what I am concerned about is that if we go through this process, then we will end up send it to the assessor's office, and they will put it on people's property tax bill. And what I want to do is, for the next property tax bills that go out, I would at least like these bills to come off the residents' property tax bills. And so my concern is, if we just go ahead and set this, that we'll end up adopt a resolution to declare the city's intention to levy and collect assessments. So when does that happen? Does that happen after we make this
Well,
assessment,
that's-
or after the public hearing?
And that's exactly the question.
And
That's
so
the
so that's
question.
what I don't want to do.
So what-
wait a minute, you guys. I don't want to take an action here now that commits us to make this, to send this to the assessor's office, and no matter how good our intentions are, that we end up giving people this on their property tax bill.
Right. I'm sorry, if you were to follow the agenda as it's laid out, that would not set the property tax in stone. When you come back for the public hearing, there will be another resolution that adopts and approves the assessment, and it's that resolution, the action from that resolution that places it on the tax roll.
And two things, Mayor. One, first of all, the question you laid out is exactly the one that legal needs to answer, which is at what point that gets assessed, and does it happen by our action or someone else's action? And if we do not take that action, does that relieve those properties of that assessment? That's the clarity we need. And then what do we need to do to let it go? And just so we're clear, I feel we all feel the same way about taxing properties. We all feel the same way about these levies, and this was brought up a while back because, again, it never covered the cost, and folks were paying.
So whoever thought it'd be so hard to save people money? So, Madam City Clerk, if you would read all of them, and then we can vote on all of them at the same time.
Yes, sir. So I'll read them collectively, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
collectively.
Okay, so we'll start again with staff report recommending that the mayor and council members adopt a resolution to initiate proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for the Morningside Park Maintenance Assessment District 1974-2, In-Town Maintenance Assessment District 1975-1, Inglewood Street Lighting Assessment District 1980-1, and the Darby-Dixon Maintenance Assessment District 1987-1.
Okay, so I'm going to move 1, 2, and 3, but I want to make it clear to everyone, my comments exclude the street lighting assessment district because that's a citywide fund, all right? So, but
And just for clarity, Mayor, it's 1, 2, and 3 of SPH 1, 2, 3, and 4.
yes,
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. So we've adopted all of them. Okay. A1.
I'm sorry.
He said,
He's still thinking about
I
that
know,
one.
he's so like confused.
he said,
I do have a question. So you did not vote on one?
no,
No, we voted on
on
everything.
everything.
Oh, okay.
The agenda
Everything.
completed
Come
as
on.
stated.
All right, no oral arguments, no oral comments from the city attorney.
CM1,
Thank you, Mayor.
That
There
was
was no
funny,
oral
though.
comments from the city manager's office.
CC1.
No reports, Mayor.
What?
No appointments to
Are you
boards,
okay,
commissions, and
Aisha?
committees. Public comment. Any persons wish to address the council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so for 1 minute.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Moses Castillo, and I'd first like to commend you for your service. Thank you for it and for your leadership. I've been to many City Council meetings, and this is by far the most efficient meeting I've ever seen. I'm coming to you as a,
Could you say that louder for the people
know,
in the
right?
back?
And thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
I'm coming to you as an advocate. I'm a retired LAPD detective. And Mayor, I met you once with Chief Prisinger, may he rest in peace. But in any event, I'm here to advocate. Back on December 6th of 2020, you have a resident named Jose Samuel Galvez Pineda, a 41-year-old male with 5 children, who tragically was killed in a fatal hit and run in the area of 108th Street and Crenshaw in Inglewood. And the mom is here. We met with the detectives last month, and the case has gone cold. No arrests have been made. I'm asking that maybe at your next meeting, if you could put an agenda for a reward.
I need to ask you a question to keep going. So again, could you repeat the name and give me the date that it occurred?
Yes, Mayor. December 6th of 2020,
Okay.
and the name is Jose Samuel Galvez Pineda, 41-year-old, and he was a resident of your city for the last 5 years, and his mom is here.
Yeah.
She also is going to speak, and it's been unsolved, and the detectives said it's cold. There is some video footage of some area ring cameras that captured some of the vehicles, and so we're asking for your support in a reward, and then once you do approve it, hopefully, have a press conference announcing that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Right here.
Mama, did you want to speak?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, we are here to ask him for a favor. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, my son, this afternoon back to home, he driving his motorcycle. 3 people drive the trucks, and 2 trucks hit him from almost from the house, and they left. And I went to the police station. I tried to speak with people to help me, but now Mr. Moises are here with me, and we are need your help.
Okay. Captain DiBernardo's right here. So if you speak to her and give her your information, we'll work on it, all right? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon to the great city of Inglewood. I know I'm repeating myself all the time, but I do not want to take that for granted. There's other areas that don't actually meet, and it's disappointing that they're doing Zoom meetings and there's no record of what they do. So I hope that changes, but there are a few things that I'm just happy that we're not LA. LA is in a situation where they lock blacks out that want to speak. And that's another reason why I'm grateful to be here in Inglewood, because y'all let me put my 2 cents in. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll close public comment and we'll go to council comments. Councilwoman Gray, District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, let me offer condolences to the mother who spoke about her son today. We talked about transparency, and I've said about that many times, and I've heard my colleagues mention that quite a bit today, and I'm really delighted because transparency for me is all about, having dialogue and discussions here at the council. And so I joined with my colleagues in making sure that the public is aware of important issues on the agenda. And that's what it's all about. Someone mentioned efficient meeting today. And that's true, but efficiency also means that, there is public discourse, that we do discuss those items. So in a very efficient and educational way for the public. Just a couple of the things I want to remind folks about: the Champion Grant Expo Workshop. That's Monday, July 24th at 5 p.m. at the Senior Center. Also remind everyone about National Night Out, August 1st. Thank you, Cinda. I understand that I will have a tent or table there, so I look forward to meeting my constituents from D1 there and everyone there. Also, I will be at the ICOP Center in August, the middle of August, and I will be there for, I think my hours will be 1 to 3 and 5 to 7. So I invite all my residents who would like to speak to me in the district to come and meet with me. Also, I have a newsletter. I think many of you have seen it, but it does come out about every 2 weeks. And in there, I do have information. So stay tuned for that to make sure that you are aware of things that are going on. We do have a citywide shredding program in September, but I will have one for District 1, I think in September. The citywide one, I believe, is next month. But I will have a shredding program for District 1 residents in September. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Padilla, District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. Number one, I'm glad that we did move a lot of agenda stuff today, but our police department, one of the items was these barricades to put around special events so that it would help us prevent somebody from driving a vehicle or truck or whatever camper through into an event. So I'm glad we got that approved. The other thing is I want to wish Ann Iskandarian a happy birthday. She's a longtime City of Inglewood District 2 resident, and I had a chance to go by yesterday and visit with her and her husband, Ben, to wish her a happy 21st birthday. So we had a great time. She's very proud to wear her City of Inglewood cap. Also, my wife and I had a chance to go to SoFi on Sunday to see the CONCACAF championship soccer game. I mean, think about it. And Eloy and I were talking about this today, and I even talked about it with the my colleagues up here. But think about where we were at as a city. We had the Super Bowl, WWE, or the collegiate championship game. I mean, all these events that we're having here in Inglewood, and then we topped it off, or not topped it off, but again, we had another great event this past Sunday in Inglewood
Gold Cup.
at SoFi Stadium. Sellout crowd. People were saying, "Oh, it's not going to sell out." Sold out. Nearly 73,000 people. So Inglewood, we're on the map for all the right reasons, and we'll continue to be the city of champions. That being said, I do want to invite everybody to my chili cook-off coming up on Saturday, August the 12th at 4 p.m. Following the chili cook-off and the picnic, we're going to be having a movie in the park, all this at North Park on Saturday, August 12th. The movie is called Mario Brothers. So come on out with your family, enjoy a fun-filled afternoon. And a reminder, Tuesday, August 1st, National Night Out. It's our opportunity to give our support to our police officers. And National Night Out is something that's everywhere in the state of California. It's not just here, but here in Inglewood, we do it a special way. We have concerts, we have vendors, we have booths. We're going to have a lot of entertainment, and I want to thank our Inglewood Police Department, more specifically Cinder, for helping to put this together with the rest of our city staff. If you have any animals, I'm having my pet clinic, my wellness clinic coming on Sunday, July 30th at 9 a.m. for our dog and cats, and I'm doing this in conjunction with our LA County Animal Care and Control Department. With that being said, señora, la vamos a ayudar con lo que le pasó con su hijo y ya sé que va a estar hablando con el capitán ahí de la policía para que la pueda ayudar. Lo siento.
Councilwoman Falk.
Thank you. I also would like to extend my condolences to you and your family for the loss of your son. We're going to keep you lifted in prayer. Okay. I'm going to start off with my backpack event I am doing with Assembly Member Tina McKenna. Next month, we are having our second annual backpack event on August 19th, and it will be over at Crenshaw and Imperial. And it'll take place from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's a flyer. We have special guests for our kids, so please, please, please make sure you bring your kids. They're going to be delighted when they see who we have in store for them. I'm looking forward to that. Also, last week I highlighted one of our small businesses in District 4. And it is Connie Seafood. There is Connie. She is absolutely amazing. She has taken over her family business. She's been very successful. There's her cute little dog right there on the right there before me, and she's very successful. So I did my small business pop-up. You can look in my social media pages and see that I highlighted this business as my most recent small business. So please, 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 she has amazing seafood. If you are looking for some amazing seafood, get over to Connie Seafood on Imperial. You will love it. Also, like Alex Padilla, I also want to congratulate SoFi Stadium for hosting the soccer event. It actually made history. It sold out. It actually had 72,963 in attendance for the soccer game. So it made history for the highest attended soccer match at SoFi Stadium. And also, Mexico won, so congratulations to our Mexican soccer team for their big win. It was amazing. And I also want to extend congratulations to our our Inglewood staff, Chris Jackson, Jerry Tucker, people at SoFi Stadium that day. We had to coordinate and make sure that it was a safe environment for all attendees. And so we had like a lot of issues, a lot of moving parts. And so I was on the phone with them pretty much all day Sunday, and they did a great job. So congratulations. Thank you guys for, first of all, taking my call, working with me. I appreciate you all the time for stepping up.
So you guys were out in the street directing traffic? Oh,
Well, no, not well, it was a lot of
oh.
issues going on. It
Oh,
was a lot of issues, so
okay.
everything. Code enforcement was in full force and effect. And then also our directional signs, that's the first time I really seen all of them, the ones on Crenshaw up and running. So they were in full effect to help attendees navigate in and out of the SoFi Stadium efficiently. So congratulations, Public Works, Louis Atwell and his team for making sure those were operational. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, everybody. And then also, I wanted to highlight one of our younger residents, Isis Bunn. Anybody recognize that cutie pie right there? So Isis Bunn was awarded Yola's Musical Excellence Award at this year's Yammy celebration. Yes, and that is Thomas Bunn's daughter. She is a District 4 resident. Congratulations, Isis Bunn, on your achievement. We wish you well. Lastly, Mayor, I want to close my Parks and Recs Commissioner, Chris Beck, lost his daughter, Cache. She was only 27, lost her to cancer.
Terrible.
Please keep her in your prayers. Again, her name is Cache Beck. Thank you.
Councilman Morales.
Yeah, just briefly, everybody covered National Night and some other events that I wanted to talk about, but it's been highlighted. Really, well, first, congratulations to Thomas. We talk about our kids a lot, and, congratulations, man. It doesn't happen without you and your wife. That being said, I wanted to touch a little bit on the whole talk about transparency and how there's either a lot of discussion or little discussion. I can tell you that nobody holds back up here. I mean, staff is awesome in terms of opening up and showing everybody what it is. And if residents call, we tell them. Nothing's a secret in terms of how we handle things. I remember when I first started here, there was probably 2 hours of public comment when I started here. And I felt like, and everything's on video. Everybody can check, and you can see how productive those meetings were or were not, and how much we accomplished. And sometimes, we're elected for a reason to make decisions. And if anyone has any questions about our decisions, they can call us individually. And that's the real question about transparency, how that works. So I just wanted to tap that because I can appreciate staff, how much they do to make sure that we're as transparent as we can be. In regards to the game on Sunday, traffic went well. I was actually, called by some of the residents. They knew there was a lot of folks coming. Credit to Louis and his team for the traffic and everybody else who's out there. I know Jerry's always out there handling citations, but I mean, having 73,000 people in one place and everybody jumping in the car at the same time and leaving, it's no joke. We get them in and out pretty quickly, so that's credit to you guys. And, hopefully we have a lot of these events, but every single one of them makes us look good. So folks that have never been to Inglewood get to drive in, they leave saying, hey, it wasn't what everybody said. It's good for me. So that's it. I just wanted to point that out. So that's it. Mary, lo sentimos mucho, señora. Pronto.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the Gold Cup. They had a VIP reception the day before, and I got to actually take a picture with the Gold Cup itself. A memory for me forever. And I forget which one was talking about it, but I think it was Alex. But 73,000 plus people over here at.
Who's that guy?
Oh, that's Victor. He's the president of the North American World Cup Association. Okay, and Gianna, the big guy for the worldwide, he was there too. So this was at that reception. But the point that I wanted to make when I said we're Artie and that's me. We're Artie and Louis and Chris in the street, and they weren't. And we can't forget Bill Thompson and Laz Parking and Tanya Perry. We can't forget them. They managed an event that's the most people have been in SoFi at once. And so I want to say, Bill, you did a very good job. And I want to congratulate Thomas Bunn and his daughter. And I wanted to briefly talk about something we don't talk about a lot in the city, but crime has gone down dramatically in the city of Inglewood. Since 1981 to the close of 2022, violent crime has dropped 67% in the city. Homicides have dropped 70%. Rapes 43%. Robberies 63%. Aggravated assaults, rapes 63%. Homicides 43%. Violent crime overall is down 70%. Robberies are down 81%, aggravated assaults down 39%, and property crimes down 66%. And so in that property crimes, burglaries are down 91% since 1981, larcenies down 56%, and auto thefts down 37%. I want to really give kudos to Chief Ronarata, Chief Hurt, Captain DiBernardo, the leadership of the police department, and all of our Inglewood police officers. They've done a fantastic job. Okay, and then on August 1st, we have National Night Out, and for those of you that are disposed to see them up close and personal and thank them, we encourage you to come out. And so with that, we're going to close the meeting in the name of, well, before I close, I wanted to comment on something that Eloy said. I think I got like 20 seconds left. He was kind of modest about the 2 hours. We used to spend 7 hours in council meetings, 7 to 8 hours, and they were more political posturing things where, so you see who could bring the most people to talk and be angry at the other council people. That's basically what happened. And you're right. And what that led to, or result was, a city that was going to be cash flow bankrupt. It was extraordinarily dysfunctional, and we were going nowhere. And so, you know, public input is very important. Running a business meeting is important too. So with that, we're going to close in the name of Cache Beck, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.